cable plant, then it has to be good.
Thank you, kid. We pay 1.9.
Choose it.
Get the best deals on channels like Fox TV, Ebony Live TV, ST Nollywood Plus, Discovery Family, and much more with StarTimes Classic Bouquet Reloaded for only 1,900 Naira from September 1st to October 31st, 2018. Don't miss out on all the drama, action, and comedy on StarTimes. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Election is considered to be one of the key drivers of democracy because it engenders smooth transition in government, sustenance of democracy, accountability and transparency in governance. It involves a formal decision-making process by which the people select candidates that will occupy elective posts. It is against this background that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, was established under Section 153 of the 1999 Constitution as amended and Section 1 of the Electoral Amendment Act 2011 as an independent body solely responsible for conducting and coordinating elections and other ancillary matters in Nigeria. The role of INEC, therefore, in the electoral process in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. With that, I welcome you to today's edition of Politics and You. Today, we'll be looking at a very important topic, the implications of INEC's decision on the Osun governorship election. My name is Pius Samuel, and I have in the studio with me, Ikenga Ugochinyere, a political analyst. Thank you for finding the time to join us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's look at the role INEC has played so far in the Osun State governorship election. There are a whole lot of cry back and forth, and now INEC has finally, drawn a conclusion that that election is inconclusive. I know you are a lawyer. You understand what the Constitution says about all of this back and forth. What was your initial thought when you had what INEC decision was as far as that election was concerned?
Well, at the level of the coalition of United Political Party, which is the umbrella body of the country's leading opposition parties that have the PDP, the SDP, the AD, all over 40 political parties, to us, immediately we had that. Even though we suspected from beginning that INEC is in cahoots with APC to overrun and upturn this election. To us, it's a rape on democracy, a plot to subvert the will of the people of Osun, expressly given to Adeleke. To us, it was an attempt to destabilize the foundation of our constitutional democracy and the principles of free and fair election. Everything about that election was going on very well from accreditation to arrival of materials on time until we get to collation point. The whole process was bastardized and messed up. It was just the collation, ordinary, like the Senate President said, ordinary addition of figures. Professor Mahmoud could not get it right. And they have the audacity to try to react to statements that we have issued. Look at 1,000 votes that was deducted from Ayedede by an officer of the commission. Before we were dealing with APC thinking that they are the only ones who wants to ensure that this thing is not done the right way. We did not know that the biggest threat to the survival of our democracy, to free and fair election, is INEC. Because when an INEC officer that is supposed to be unbiased, that have taken oath of allegiance to the Constitution and to the Republic, decides to tamper with the sacred, the only duty he or she is called to do, to remove a figure. If this thing have happened in places like China, it can tantamount to treason with the person being executed. How can an officer of INEC not a member of APC, used his own hand in Ayedede to remove 1,000 and then call the man in Ayedede local government, Mr. Kolawole, to go and tear down the result sheet. You see, you have committed the heinous crime. Now you want to cover your track because what they wanted to do was remove the one that have been pasted. Remember, the electoral act said once it is declared, it will be pasted in the place in a way everybody will see. That is part of the constitutional provision. So now they want to hide that one, remove it, and then so that later they will come and paste the one that had the deducted 1,000 votes. You see, why I don't want to listen to anything INEC is saying. If there have not been a tenor vigilance by the great young people of Oshu who listen to their good friend Davido that they should keep vigil. If these people have not kept vigil, because the result has already moved from Ayedede, but the people still kept vigil watching that thing on the wall. If they were not there when Mr. Kolawole came to tear it, are we going to be aware that such a thing happened? Wouldn't INEC tell us at the collection center, like they said earlier on, to go to tribunal? You see, that's why I don't want to listen to anything they are saying, because if you cannot train your staff, these ones are not ad hoc staffs. The people who did this are not ad hoc staff. So if it's ad hoc staff, I can say, okay, these are university graduates or people who are trying to make both ends meet. They must have been compromised. No, these people are officers of the commission who they say have taken an oath to ensure neutrality and then free and fair election. This is, the man said the EO called him to go and then I had expected by now that INEC would have paraded that woman who is the electoral officer and then check the call record of Mr. Kolawole, which is very easy. Get to the police, they will print the call record for you. Is it the only one it has to do with the opposition? Print the call record, you see who this young man called. And then grab this woman. There should have been, charges have been filed to reassure we in the opposition that you are not up to something. That you are not bowing to the pressure and interest of somebody in Lagos. Now, at the end of the day, as long as we are concerned, using Ayedede as an example, because why I keep using it is that because that is when we were able to use our own, not police, it wasn't police that arrested it, it was the citizens that did the citizens' arrest of grabbing Mr. Kolawole. So I used the one that our people were able to grab them. To not tell you now, look at what happened in parts of Oshobo and Olumdere, or what they call that area, where you will see a difference. Maybe they scored 14,500, and at entering it, they enter 15,000 something. There was extra 1,000 vote that was entered, different from what was in from EC8. There was another addition in Oshobo. If you add the additions that when you get the first result sheet and the one that was tabulated at the collection center in Oshobo, you see a gap of 4,000 votes. And I keep telling them, if INEC has done the right thing, especially their staffs, there will be no need for this rerun we have gone into. Because they are saying the rerun is about 3,004 something. And we are telling that there's an addition, there's a calculation error, which was deliberate. Because why I say deliberate, I use Ayedede as an example. If we have not caught them, that one would have slipped. So there is a calculation, deliberate manipulation of calculation that made us lose 4,000 votes, which if you have done the right thing and calculated it, we will not be having a rerun. This rerun is just to massage the ego of the they have lost an election. You should have declared a winner. And that brings me to the question you asked me. Section 179, subsection 2A and B of the Constitution, that has spelled out the grounds upon which somebody can be validly returned as the governor. Once he scores a lawful majority of the vote cast, and once he scores 1/4 of the vote in 2/3 of the local government, in this case 20 LUG, the man scored even in 30 LUGs. So the point I'm trying to make, which is very, very important, is that first of all, there is no need for this rerun because there was a deliberate calculation error that they did against our people in the coalition. And secondly, the reason they are giving for the rerun is untenable. First, let me give you an example in what happened in August 2018 in Lokoja, the Lokoja Kogi Federal Constituency, on Ebisa Haruna, who was of the APC. He defeated the PDP. He had 26,000 plus, and the PDP had 14,000 plus. Difference of about 12,000 votes victory margin. Now, the number of votes cancelled by the APC is about 19,000. But the difference of votes cancelled by INEC was about 19,000. Professor Mahmoud Yakub INEC still went ahead and declared Haruna winner of that election. Upon the protest by the PDP, they did not remember supplementary, rerun, and all those nonsense you are hearing now. They went ahead and declared him winner. And they told us to go to where? Tribunal. What you should have done was to declare the governor-elect the winner of the election. Then and tell them also, like you told us, to go to tribunal. Because it means that the INEC is not truly independent. It means that when pressure of the ruling government is brought to bear on them, because let us break it down. This is an election the vice president has gone there and started his market the funding something. 10,000 he was giving to them. Why go there to give them that money 3 hours to election? You could have continued in Imo, my place, where you have not done, or continued in Lokoja. Why must you go to Osun, that is the home state of your former political godfather?
Is that another form of vote buying?
To me, like I told you before, there are 2 types of vote buying, the direct and indirect. The direct one that happens in the polling and the one you are trying to influence the vote. Is it only him that did that? The president, that suddenly after Aribo Shala, his government has not paid over 3 years' salary. This man received Paris Club refund among the first time they made that month. Salary were not fully paid. Now he came back again, you give him 16.6 billion some weeks in the middle of the night to election. What are you trying to say? So he started clearing the salary backlog so that the people will say, okay, he's working. What happens in 3 years? You have not paid the money. Now, talk of Tinubu's, what Tinubu said there, even in citing comment that he made there. Why are we doing this? Because, let me say it, this election involves a godson of Tinubu, which is Aribo Shala. All of us know was his commissioner in Lagos. And there is also belief that Tinubu, their ancestral home is Osun. And the man in question, Ayotela, is his cousin. So, is it because the leader of the party, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is involved? There's family relationship involved, and because the president desperately needs Osun to show the opposition that, oh, we have defeated the people in 2019, your people are not going anywhere. That's why you are willing to bring all institutions of democracy to ridicule, and then telling us that because the 300 and something they say we're winning them. No, this is after they have battered the vote. They have battered this vote now. This vote, BBC, everybody had it on their website. But by the time they finished the cook, adding an addition and removal, this vote came to 350 something. Which still, at the end of the day, Adeleke still won them. Now, our major concern is that knowing fully well the desperation that have been applied in this election, how are we sure that what will turn out now is going to be free and fair? Knowing fully well that there was no reason, let me repeat this, that there was no reason, because the example they are citing, that once the vote in the area's election did not hold, is higher with the margin of defeat you go for this rerun. And I want to draw their attention to Ife North, I think, or South, where there was 350 something they say was overvoting. By saying overvoting, elections have held in that place. Results counted, accreditation done, and then there's overvoting. The electoral act is clear, you cancel it. You don't go for a run. It's like a voided vote. It's like when somebody turns in between 2 logos. You now say, okay, let me give them another chance. Are you getting me? There was about 49,000 voided votes in that election. Then they should go and give those people a second chance. Or if somebody tears his ballot halfway, you give him a second chance. No, you cannot. Once voting has happened, accreditation has been done, and results announced, like overvoting results being announced, you cancel it. You don't say you include it in the run. Now, in Osogbo, election has also held and completed. I think the other person walked away with the result of the card reader. If there's any place that should be a rerun, it should be those areas that ab initio from scratch, from 8 a.m., there was nothing that happened, nothing happened, then you can give those people a chance if you want to. So, if they have minus all those areas, you can see, and then added those votes that we are still insisting we are not calculated right, the margin will be clear that there's no need for you to have done the rerun. But they deliberately did this miscalculation left, right, and center. And I'm even being told that the 3,500 is not even the total number. When you calculate it, you recalculate the 7 polling units they're talking about. So all this calculation it all boils down to one thing: to give a second chance to a man who has been defeated. And that is why I have serious concern about the outcome of this process. That is all. That they don't want to respect it because it involves the opposition, and they have done it, in Kogi and in some other places. No, why is it that now that involves? And let me tell you another thing. Up to this moment, the total number of people that collected PVC in those 7 polling units, the total number is not 3,005 something that they are saying. That is total number of registered voters. What I had expected, INEC, which some days ago they were attacking the press release, the CUPP release, that is baseless. How can you say my release is baseless? I'm telling the world that as of this moment, I have not been given the list of people who have collected PVCs in these areas for me to know the actual people who will participate or who are participating in this election, because you are going by PVC. So we're not going to go by number of registered voters. You can use number of registered voters to do to calculate your rerun purposes. But for the actual voting, it's not 3,000 something, because it is only the people who have collected their PVC that can vote. Tell us the number, because we are hearing rumors that people are tampering with uncollected PVC. And you say I should produce evidence. My evidence is that you have not given me the list of PVC people who have collected PVC in these areas, and you have released the list of people who have collected PVC in Osun. So give me that breakdown with which you arrive at the total calculation, so that we know that, okay, if it is 800 people, or 1,000 people, or 1,500 people, that the vote in question that we are struggling for is 1,500. So there's no election that will go outside 1,500. But with this uncertainty now, you can come up tomorrow and they say it's 2,500, because somebody knows that it is practically impossible to cover the 300 and something that we are leading them with, and then top a winning number. And that's why you see this muchu thing going on. I have seen the coalition is everybody's coming together, because this process is important. This election is important, not just to us as opposition, but to the people of Osun who have not received salary for over 3 years, to somebody who have been receiving high salary since 8 years now. These people need an opportunity to earn their living decently, and the economy needs to come back again. Not an economy that will control by Lagos, a man who will, even after supporting the ravaging of that economy, come back and tell you in your front that he's richer than Osun State. These people need liberation, and that is what our people have given to them. And now they want to dabura this process with all this muchu you are seeing left, right, and center.
Now, can you tell us a distinctive difference between what happened in Osun State and what happened in Kogi State? Because we know that during the rerun election, in Kogi State, there were also discrepancies as far as numbers and figures were concerned. Now, can you tell us what is the difference? Why was Kogi State not declared inconclusive, and now Osun is declared inconclusive?
That is the point I'm still making, and I have given you the facts. I said, first of all, the APC scored 26,000. The PDP had 14,000, and there was 12,000 difference. And now INEC announced that the number of cancelled votes is 19,000. Now, what it means that the winning margin, which is 12,000, any of them would have covered it. Because if you minus 12,000 from 19,000, you still have almost 7,000 or more than 7,000 or 8,000. I don't know this thing. So, knowing that there are still over 8,000 to be struggled for, why do you now go ahead to declare a winner? They did it deliberately because the governor of Kogi State, Yahya Bello, was also putting pressure on them. The APC was putting pressure on them because they thought they feel like, oh, we cannot win, we cannot lose. We must prove to Mr. President that we can deliver. And that's why they put pressure on INEC, and INEC announced it. There is no justification on human head for INEC to have announced it if what they're telling is in Osun is the right thing. And now you come to Osun where there is a 350 something, an election that have been completed. You saw what the people went through, the issues that was involved, and you saw what your staffs did. So in that case, the credibility of the election that has to do with coalition is even in doubt. All you would have done was to reduce this tension. And let me say this. In 1983, when the MPN was on rampage and entered into the Southwest, the old Southwest, trying to bring their interest to bear, working with the INEC of that particular moment to dabra the wish of the people of Ondo, including Oshoba and all this other area. You saw what happened when they suddenly announced a figure that was not what the people voted for. That was how the Wild West started. The mandate declared with Moboriwo. Did he take the mandate? The man has to run for his life in the boot of a car. So they should not return us to something that will make the Wild West a child's play. Because when you tamper with the will of the people, deliberate tampering with the will of the people, using the institutions of the state, you are pushing the people to the wall. And you cannot have faith in a system, whether it's a security agency or in a commission, that abuses their oath of office and then deduct your figure, and you tell me to have confidence in that person. Never will you have confidence in that kind of person, because you are destroying the trust with which all of us have surrendered to whatever INEC does or security agencies. I should be able to trust you. I should be able to loyal to you. But when you, that institution that has a sacred responsibility, turns to be the person, doing the same thing the opposition or the ruling government is supposed to be doing, then you are pushing the people to the wall. You are giving them a small option. You are supposed to be neutral. And I have expected INEC, knowing the shame their EOs has brought in Ayodele Elujie, to tread with caution and ensure that this process ends in a transparent and free and fair manner.
Now, let's look at the sections of the Constitution that has to do with, inconclusive election as far as Nigeria is concerned. I know of Section 179 of the Constitution. Now, you are also, a legal practitioner and also an analyst. Can you break down what that section really means as far as, declaring an election results are concerned?
You see, it's only in Nigeria that people will see something that is threat and they continue to run around. Section 179, subsection 2A and B, there is nothing conflicting. There is nothing, big about it. To start with, the Supreme Law. It's like the KBAC. These other laws, like electoral act, like ballots and all those things, they bow at the supremacy of the KBAC, which is the Constitution. That is the sacred law that you must take. If you don't like, you appeal to God. Now, the Constitution have said, for one to be duly returned as a governor, that he must have scored majority of the lawful votes that have been cast in that election. And he must have scored 1/4 of 1/3 of the vote, which is 20 of the LUJ in the case of Osun. That is clear. All these things they're talking about, the subsidiary legislation of electoral act, that is secondary. If any law at any time is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution, to that extent is null and void. Well, let's accept their INEC regulations and Ghana, because they are quoting a provision that said INEC has powers to make regulation and Ghana. The question is, what was this regulation? You said in areas where election did not hold. And also, this regulation is also guided by the judgments of the Supreme Court that have said that once an election is cancelled, in the case of Osumba versus Oshomole in 2007, when a cancel vote was later ascribed to PDP Osumba, when Oshomole went to the court, said you cannot, that vote is dead. It's like the vote is on the floor, you can't bring it up again. It's like a voided vote. And they removed it, and that's how they declared, what's his name, Oshomole, governor of Edo State. So if they have been overvoting, which have been cancelled, and there have been also a completed voting process in Oshobo before they ran away with the matter, which have been cancelled, you should not have added it to the areas that the run is going to, hold. By adding them to those areas, you're bringing them to life. That has vitiated the run. Those two additions, even if you said there was no voting at all in the other remaining parts, are you getting me? But these ones you added, that is clear that you said it was over voting in Ife North or South, or where you have 300 and something, and this other one. This one has vitiated this rerun, because that's why I'm happy the PDP has gone to court. Apart from going to face them on this remaining process, going to court is also to have a window to address these anomalies that they have done. But my brother, I have to be honest with you. Are we supposed to be panicking and raising tensions over one single state? This is one single state. And we're talking about 2019, when 120,000 polling units will be in question, 360 federal constituency, and 109 Senate seat on the same day. If these people cannot conduct an ordinary isolated election that has no state assembly, if they can continue to bring all these jargons up and down, the validly announced result, do you think these people can take us to the battle of 2019? Or is this country going to be a reenactment of 1983? Because at the end of the day, there is Senate election, there is rep going with the presidency. If by the time you tamper with this thing you did in Ayedede, the man running for rep will be at war with you. The man running for Senate will be at war with you. He may not even wait for the presidential result to be announced. By the time you ignite these fires in 360 federal constituency, you're going to dabra our constitutional democracy. And like I said before, I can understand APC's desperation. They want to win. They want to show us that they can win us in 2019. But what is INEC's business in tampering with the figure? What is INEC's business in not giving us the total number of PVC collected in those areas? What is INEC's business in allowing or continuing the process after security agencies or talks have chased away an agent of one of the political, like they did in Oshobo Ward 4, when they chased the PDP agent out? Why do you need to continue that process? They should, because if you remove an agent, and you now bring up a figure that is concordant, nobody will believe that. This figure starts changing when you chase out the agent. This happens in most of the ward collection places in Oshobo. Now, INEC owes us a duty to, by their conduct, show that they are transparent and they can guarantee enabling environment for all of us. Not that we don't appreciate what they have done. We appreciate what they have done in improving distribution. I've been told that the INEC chairman have released even sensitive material a day before. That is good, and that's why you saw the materials at the right place at the right time by 8 a.m. But that notwithstanding, you see in the election, no matter how good your voters register look, no matter how timely the electoral materials return, no matter how good the voting cubicle looks, if at the end of the day, the collection, which is the addition and removal of figure, is messed up, either added or subtracted, you see all these things you're saying you have done, they become useless. Nobody remembers you for that. They will crucify you, and that's what happened. Ordinary addition, because addition goes to the very foundation of election. Because if somebody removes 1,000, you can see what the damage it can do to somebody's victory. This election is too close to call. So if you remove 100 or 200, somebody is going to literally die because of that. So knowing how sensitive it is, you should consider your collection as more important than all that you have done in preparation for the election, and guide it jealously. And I think they didn't guide it jealously. That's why you see all these, confusions and crises. But I also salute the people of Osun that didn't go to the street. Not in every place, people who, by the time they saw the man who went to go and tear that thing and deduct 1,000, maybe they would have chased them out of that Oshobo Collection Center. But I thank God that everything went peaceful. But you cannot continue to take the people's patience for granted. You do this all the time, you tell them, oh, go to tribunal. Which tribunal? Why will you tell me to go to tribunal when you can do the right thing on this table? And this is the problem we are having.
Now, let's look at the constitutional implication of INEC's action, in this governorship election. Like you rightly proceeded, that if we have all of this back and forth, we're likely to hit a brick wall in 2019. Now, what is the position of the Constitution when some of its laid down rules are being tampered with?
Well, because the Electoral Act has made a provision that once this dispute arise about election, especially post-election issues, you go to the tribunal. So, but the point I'm making, yes, there is tribunal to address this post-election issue, and there's the regular court to address the pre-election issues. Must somebody commit impunity? Must somebody commit electoral evil and tell his fellow Nigerians to go and exercise the option of a tribunal, to go and hire lawyers so that they're looking for injunction and counter-injunction? Is that fair? If your table can do the right thing, do you as a commission allow, like for instance, when they deducted the 1,000 vote, will it be fair to tell the people, okay, go to the tribunal, when you know that the result having been pasted at Ayedede LUGA, going by the letter act, nobody can tamper with it except the tribunal? So why are you turning it the other way around to tell the man you have hurt illegally to go to the tribunal? Our constitution and our law has made that adequate. It is the politicians and the electoral commission that are creating this problem. There is nothing wrong with the 1999 constitution on the electoral act on addressing electoral grievances. They are very clear, they are very fantastic. They have even improved in terms of seeing that matters are disposed within 180 days. But it is the politicians who now know, because they're just opportunity, they tell you, okay, I will rob you and rape you electorally here, go to tribunal. And that is the method and the element I don't like about what happened in Osun. Telling people to, okay, you can make use of the tribunal when you can do the right thing, when you can declare the results, when you would have said, okay, stop, let us recalculate. They would have, there's enough time, would have recalculated. But, when somebody raises an objection, all you need to do, this thing have from, the first form that started from the polling unit. You call for it. Please, can I have the polling unit result of these areas? You check it with the word collection one, you check it with the LUGA one, and you check what the man in Oshobo has added. This can be sorted out in 2 hours. But then you now say, okay, let's leave it, let's go to tribunal, because you have written it down. Was it cast on stone? Check the main sheet where these things are coming from. So this is why I said it has a larger implication on 2019. Because now, the opposition is very confident of victory. Somebody can say, oh, yes, that's our belief. We are working hard, and the people are with us, and the people also agree. We are confident of victory. Now, imagine when we get to 2019, and we are winning, and you see people start cancelling some areas we are winning, so that they will weaken us, and then possibly go for another rerun if we're the one topping them. You can get your finger burned with that, because not everybody may be patient like Osun for you to do that kind of abracadabra to him. So let us see election as a platform for Nigerians to choose among their fellow Nigerians who will lead them. There's nobody who is coming here to rule us from Afghanistan or Congo. It is still all of us. So let's not start seeing ourselves as us and them. We are just one nation. Let's come together, do an election, and anybody can lead this country. After all, when we fought President Goodluck Jonathan, even with the abnormality in our victory at that moment, because in most of the victory we had, there was incident form that was used over 80%. So some of those victories were even questionable, from Katsina to Kano to all these areas. We got those victories, but Jonathan respected it. He had to go. He didn't start to argue. Imagine if he had started all this argument like in our show, you know what would happen in Nigeria? The crisis, the tension. But he said, even with things that I'm supposed to raise objection, I concede to you. Take and go, if that is the wish of the Nigerian people. And that's how this thing went. Now, the way these people are going, they make me to start feeling, are you sure if we're winning them, that they will be willing to let go, or that they will burn down a collection center, or they will, cancel some areas and say election is inconclusive, and throw this country into a huge constitutional and electoral crisis? So I want our fellow brothers and sisters who are in APC to show some restraint. And also, I need to understand that this election is very delicate to the unity and oneness of this country. This, whether you like it or not, the poverty level is rising. People are angry. We should be discussing the real issues, not just about election. Because at the end of the day, what is the greater glory that should come from election? It is to serve the interests of the ordinary man and fulfill the provision of Section 14, which is protection of lives and property. Are we protecting the lives and the property? Are we advancing their economic and social interests? Are we building the nation? Are we uniting it? Now we're talking about victory, election victory, loser or winner. When these things are over, what is the impact on our people? Today, 3 years down the line, that we brought the government that we have disassociated ourselves from. Nigeria today is the poverty capital of the world. Is that an achievement? Theresa May says it's 85 million people that are poor, and that you require 50,000 jobs every 24 hours. And I asked you, was there 50,000 jobs yesterday and today? What are we discussing? You want to remove Saraki without going to the provision of Section 50 that requires 73 senators. You want to lock up Zakzaki in detention. You want to grant a unity fund where people are supposed to, petty issues that we keep pushing and leave the primary responsibility, which is the economic well-being of our people. And that is where the opposition is coming to say, we don't want to be part of this. We want to change things. We want to come and bring a government of national unity that will protect the economic interests of our people and realize the primary responsibility of government, which is the protection of lives and property.
Now, in all of this, what are the implications? Because either we like it or not, the people are the ones that are affected, because these are the people that will go under the rain, under the sun to cast their vote. These are the people that will, observe vigil to protect their votes. And at the end of the day, their wishes are not being, reflected, on the results of any of these elections. What implications does this stand, to bring, on the Nigerian electorate and on our democracy?
It is putting it on the path of complete collapse. It is putting it on the path of hopelessness. Because at the end of the day, when the energy that you are moving into wrong things are high, when the interests of the people are secondary, because politicians want to get to office and also want to consolidate the office and keep their job, what do you see? 50,000 jobs will not be created in a day, because the people who are supposed to be thinking and in the room bring a strategy with which 50,000 jobs will come every day for us to reduce the 85 million job problems. Yeah. Now, those people are busy planning Oshun. They are busy charging people for armed robbery in Offa. The other ones are busy charging people for trying to commit suicide. And when they put all this, their energy, the other ones may not have WAEC, the other ones may not have youth service certificate, and they tell them resign, they say they won't resign, or the other ones will take money meant for IDP. When politicians continue to do all these things, they will not see that to create 50,000 jobs per day to reduce the deficit of 85 million that we have. At the end of the day, who is suffering? The people. But the greatest loser is not just the people. It is the institution of the republic. Because at the end of the day, if 85 million people are poor, in that case, the people that are going to born in the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years are going to be born into poverty. Yeah. So if, let's say, 20 or 30% of these people give birth, there's likelihood that 30 million people in the next 5, 10 years will be added to the poverty ladder. Yeah. At the end of the day, it will get to a point where the number of people that are poor are higher in number. What will they do? They will oppress the rich. That's when you have crime, raping, killing, and many. They will rob and scatter. That's why if you park your car somewhere in Abuja, they will break the door, the glass, and they collect whatever you have. Because what do you expect? Man must eat. And you people, they feel that you people that have these cars are the ones who are taking what belongs to all of them. So they will be taken from you. That's why in most homes in Asokoro or Abuja, they will jump through the fence when you travel, go into your house, carry little things like TVs and gas cooker, because when they carry it, they go and give you these Panteka people for 10 naira so that they can eat. It's about to eat. So if we are going to a level where what our citizens are struggling to do is to steal or rob just to put something in their stomach, then the future, I can tell you, is very, very bleak and very dangerous for our people. And politicians need to redirect and refocus their energy that the election is about platform to serve. And when you get into that platform, keep to your oath of allegiance and understand that the welfare of the people should be paramount, and not this argument of remove him, impeach him, declare his seat vacant, so that what will happen? None of these things is happening in our democracy. Or when you decide to disrespect judgments of court, you are not building the institutions of the judiciary. So this place is gradually turning into a political jungle, because people are now desperate to do what Nkurunziza of Burundi are doing, or Mobutu Sese Seko used to do in Zaire, or what do you call him, the man in Cameroon, Paul Biya is doing. About keeping to power. That's why you can see them. Some of them, you need to help them to walk up to the stage and they say, I say want to rule. That's what Mugabe was doing before they chased him out of that place. So if at the end of the day we do the same thing that Nkurunziza and all these infamous and inglorious leaders are doing in their places after 100 years of nationhood, then I can tell that we are not growing, that we are sinking. Now,
can you draw a comparison between what is obtainable now and what happened in 2015 when the previous administration was in power? What comparison can you draw in the elections and the outcome of the results and all of that, and the final acceptance of defeat by President Goodluck Jonathan?
First of all, there was tension in 2015, but there is times it will get to a particular point, Jonathan will apply the brake. I use the example of when Tambuwal decamped to the APC. There was some tension, there was locking of the gate and literally, but after that day he crossed that line, Jonathan pulled back and let it go. The people who left Saraki, the other people who joined the PDP, David Mark managed it very well. At the point they have to pull the brake. I think more was said on the campaign trail than action in terms of, exchanging the political banters and words and all those things. Jonathan's wife was accusing left, right, and center. Lai Mohammed was accusing. I think there was not much violence. There was not much use of state forces. Even the DSS was talking more than attack. Marina Oga was, or what they call, the only attack they made was when they raided one of the centers where they said they were cloning candidate. But apart from that, they were not whisking people, they were not disobeying judgment of the court. They were more of, you did this, I did this, and they were exchanging words left, right, and center. And at the end of the day, we had a peaceful election, and the man accepted defeat because he didn't want the country to slide to crisis, because he has reasons to raise objection about some of the figures. But in this case, it's not just a exchange of, if you even open your mouth to say anything, you know the place you're going to land. Journalists are even kept in detention for 2 years. These are things that Nkurunziza, Burundi, or Pobia would do. I can imagine that in the 21st century Nigeria, that have been on the path of nationhood for 100 years, you can take John Saburi that did not commit a capital offense and keep him in detention 2 years. And somebody is justifying it. I saw the man when they released him, he was so skinny. I can't believe that because of the fracas between the worshippers, the Shite people, and the chief of army staff, even after some of them were killed, you can still also keep their leader in detention for over 2-3 years. I can't believe that the Dasuki, after he was granted bail, you are willing to abandon the trial to continue persecution by keeping him in detention ad infinitum. So you can see the difference, that there seems to be an application of a force that is not in tandem with our constitutions and pronouncements of court. You can see that there's deliberate obstruction of justice, that Attorney General will tell you reason why they cannot obey a judgment of a court. That is cool. That is treason, because you have overthrown the sacred principles of constitutional governance. If you cannot obey judgment of a court, if you cannot obey the dictates of our constitution, then what do you call it? Democracy? It's no longer a constitutional democracy. So it's good if you don't want, then let them go and proclaim it a military democracy. But if it is democracy, it is built on the principle of rule of law, supremacy of the law, not supremacy of the ideas and interests of one leader. You cannot have a human leader that you want people to worship as an institution. Okay, if Buhari is the most honest man in human earth, and I ask you when he is gone, because there will be a day he will go. So what happens when you get another one that is a criminal, when you don't have institutions? The only thing that saves nations and saves democracy and constitutional governance is institutions. That's why in America, in UK, when people misbehave, the institution is structured such that even an officer of law that is a junior can detain you there. Today, you see the Attorney General of US and the prosecution officer, what they are banting with Trump. If it's in Nigeria, with the Attorney General exchange those words with the president, will they investigate him? Without the party leaders and DSS going after the person? Because these people have built institutions. So when the president commits an infraction, it doesn't matter. The department that is in charge will investigate, and if you are found wanting, you will be tried, impeached, and prosecuted and removed out of the way. But if it is APC that is in US today, with those Trump stars be facing what they are facing, including the ones who have already been jailed. So if we don't build the institutions, not because of Buhari, if we don't build the institutions, you see all these things we are doing since our nation founding father got independent, is a well, because we will not go anywhere. Because it's only one leader comes, he talks about how good he is. When he got another one will come. Will you keep having good leaders? So the only way to check human being is institutions. That's why it must be. That's why it must be law. That's why even in the Bible, God did not allow us to keep moving because He knows we will not obey. That's why He gave us a commandment and told you that there's consequences when you don't obey the commandment. So it's for you. You can obey or not obey, but there's a consequence, and that guided human being up to this particular moment. So there is constitution, there is law, and there is consequences. When people breach law and you refuse to apply the consequences, then you are doing the greatest disservice to democracy and to institutions of democracy and our constitutional governance. And that's what you have today.
Is INEC truly independent?
At this moment, I would say yes or no. Yes, in the sense that I am seeing some improvements that the INEC chairman is bringing on board. No, because I can see some danger signs that have emanated in Rivers and in Osun, which are worrisome. So it's still a 50-50 issue, and I hope in the days ahead that INEC chairman should be able to rein in those stages, some staff that are habitual election criminals, like the one that happened yesterday. These ones have, whatever you like, they're like civil servants in what they do. Whenever you finish blowing your grammar in Abuja, they will connect with some local politicians and dabura your process. That's why you see it in Rivers, that's why you see it in Osun, and all those areas. Even in Bayelsa, when they had, they produced, they had, is it 20,000 registered voters and the entire 20,000 voted, remember in the Southern Bayelsa at that time. So all those kind of funny things are done by INEC staffs in connection with maybe the returning officer. So the chairman has to now know that the biggest threat, whatever he's doing, is not about Abuja and him. It's about these people they have as EOs, as collation officers, and this one they bring in as returning officers. He needs to put more pressure. He needs to devise more ways of reining them in. And also to help them to be truly independent. The president must sign the 2018 amended electoral that the parliament is sending to him now. Sign it, because that will help INEC to have more powers and more discipline on their people, and also help to limit the manipulative loopholes that these people are using, especially like the electronic transmission of accreditation, electronic transmission of result. If there have been electronic transmission of accreditation and result, what you saw in Ayedede and Oshobo won't be having that argument. All INEC would have done was to call back the back end of what was sent from the bulletin and say, okay, this is the actual figure, and we'll wrap it up. There won't be any problem. And there's a provision in the law that if what you transmitted is not the actual thing that happened with which the people were given, that's the actual outcome of the election, there is 2-year sentence for that electoral officer. So when the electoral officers and these guys from youth service know that if you do this thing for one chief in that area, then you will be prosecuted and you go to jail, people will now sit up and stop all this nonsense that are doing.
Do you think that will make INEC truly independent?
It will help. Not only truly independent, because let me tell you why it will help them being independent. If politicians see that there's no other way, they can't pay you to change this figure, the pressure will reduce. Because now, why are you putting him under pressure? The result you want to change on the way to Oshobo has already been transmitted. So
are you sure the politicians will not devise another means? Because we know that INEC came out, to ban smartphones at polling point, in Osun State. But we still saw some element of vote buying.
Yeah, but I can tell you that the vote buying was reduced in the last election. It wasn't like it was in where they were proud, vote and show. You snap and show, you collect your money from somebody under one man, go 3. But this one, people were, you can see that they were hiding today, but it wasn't as bad as it was in Ekiti. That notwithstanding, at least this electoral process getting better is a gradual process. Sign the law so that this aspect will get over it. And then once other challenges are coming up, it keeps being addressed. It cannot be addressed in one day. But I strongly believe that the 2018 amended electoral act will solve 40% of the problem and give us free and fair elections.
Okay, quickly, let's talk about the electoral act, that the National Assembly transmitted to the executive, and the president, withheld his assent. I know you've gone through it, and the issues raised by the executive. Do you think those issues are substantive enough for him not to sign?
You see, I don't know how to say it, but to us in the CUPP, the president is being, I don't know how to put it. He's not being serious about making Nigerians have a credible election. See our reason. There was the first bill that was sent to you. My brother, the president is not the one reading this. There's lawyers in the Ministry of Justice who go through it. I read this things over a night. So there's a team of lawyers. They can read it a week or 2 weeks. No, so let's say that they will eat one and take one chicken wings. They read one and take one chicken wings. In 2 weeks, they should finish reading. I get me. But it took them. President waited for 30 days. I know what this is, just like what lawyers do in court. You're supposed to file your motion paper in the morning. You wait, you file inside the court, and you serve them inside court. What are you trying to do? So you delay the hearing so that they give you another day, so you'll be buying time. Now, I didn't expect a president that claims that he's committed to credible election. That time, they said, okay, please go through this. Let's see if there's any issue. You waited on the 30 days when this is expiring. You send it back and say you have notice and error. You're not being sincere. Then what did they do? They amended the error and then sent to you. Then instead of you going through it fast again, you waited again, traveled to China, did all that thing you are doing, waited midnight or the 30th, you say, I find out that there's a sequencing problem. Can you look at it again? Now see, he has wasted almost over 3-4 months. Now Parliament have decided to delete even some of the argument series like sequence of election. Appeal court have said Parliament have power. But Parliament did not go to say, okay, let's put it back. Because they don't want us to start arguing. They don't want to give him an excuse again not to sign. Parliament, even with that judicial victory, still deleted Section 25 for sequence of election. They remove it for him. So you can see that on the side of the Parliament, there is this commitment and this eagerness and this determination to see this electoral act come to be. But on the side of the president, there have not been any push other than like those in the extension-seeking lawyers. Every day you wait the money, you now say this. Now I've been told by the leadership of our people in the parliament, because the CUPP still controls the parliament. Our leaders have told us that they have finished work on this amendment. Once the parliament reconvene on October 9, they will, make the resolutions to wrap it up, and they will send to him. Our prayer is that let Mr. President not this time around say that the color with which the paper was printed is green instead of white. Let's just hope that he will look at it and then sign it, and Nigerian people can have free and fair election. It will benefit his children. It will benefit generation after his children. It's not just about him. It mustn't be about him.
Now, if all of this that you've stated today is anything to go by, why do you now think that the executive is not willing to sign this electoral act into law? What is responsible?
It's very simple.
Is it because of the back and forth between the National Assembly and the executive?
No. It's very simple. There have been, I don't know, is it political self-preservation? Let me tell you why. and I challenge INEC also to come up with this data. Go and ask INEC to give you the analysis of the 2015 election. In that analysis of 2015 election, you see a place like Kano that you see over 1.8 million votes. Yeah. What the actual cadre that there was used, record there was less than 600 and something thousand. Go to Castina, where you have over 1.4 million votes. The actual thing the cadre that did the record before they started using incident form is maybe about 400,000. At the end of the day, you can see that over 80% of the figures entered did not come through the candidate. It came through incident form. And what is this incident form? Oh, they said that the candidate is not working. Or they say it's not recognized. Then they give you that form, you fill, they give you card, you vote. So the people they gave that incident form to fill and vote, they are saying that it's about 1 million and. Are you getting me? 1 million and people that they get that form. Even when I know that none of those people in it have those numbers of form. What does politicians do now? They go and write figures, and they say that it is incident form, and they back it up and fill it up. So you can see that maybe somebody who is scared of losing 2019 election, or who feels that the region where he comes from, that if the candidate is working, he may not actually get up a particular number that he will need. May want not to see this electoral come into effect, so that we will not use card reader. So what are we going to use? We'll bring out incident form, and Ghana will produce another 1.8, maybe this time around 3.8 million, like Ganduje is saying.
Is our democracy in danger?
If you ask me, is he in danger or is he already being endangered left, right, and center? He's already inside the danger. What was I saying? How do we, like a bull in a China show, how do we guide it out of danger? He's already inside the danger. The danger signs is left, right, and center. So how do we, guide it out of that danger and then arrive safely in 2019? And that's why I asked my colleague, Chairman Shomole, to call his party members to apply caution, and that's why I asked INEC to discipline their staffs and ensure that they do not do anything that would abort our march to 2019. If all of us apply caution and understand that at the end of the day, it's about service to our people, it's about the unity of the country and oneness of the country and the progress of the black race. If we all understand this and have it at the back of our mind, then there will be no need why we should go to war instead of election in 2019.
Now, what do you expect, the outcome in the rerun that is coming up on Thursday?
On the issue of the rerun, I don't have any doubt as to what will be the performance of the PDP and the coalition. Because already, if you look at the votes of the coalition put together, our allies in SDP, in ADC, and the other parties, you will see that we have over 400,000. So that if we have applied the CUPP option we want to apply at the presidential level, the election would have been won even before the campaign will start. But that notwithstanding, the PDP candidate was able to pull out of those divisions and still defeat the incumbent. Now that 2/3 of the people in the coalition have already said, like my political party that came 7th in the election, we already signed up for what is going on. We're all coming together to back the PDP candidates because this victory is already close to home. We need to back him and bring the victory into our home so that we can face this people in 2019. So I can tell you categorically that if a not, if a hard, these are strongholds of the coalition allies, the ADC, the SDP, the side of Oshobo, the ADC also is strong. So if we go by what we are doing right now, the outcome of this election, I can tell you, categorically and strongly today, the PDP guy will still have an upper hand. But my concern is this: will they apply the rules of the game? Would they ensure that the candidate is expressly used and not the incident form? Would they please tell us the number of PVC before we even start voting so that some strange things will not come up? Would they assure that the people come with PVC, that the candidate could not read, that they will not be allowed to vote? Once all these things are put in place and we are assured, I can tell you that there's nothing to worry about because we're already leading with to get 350-something votes before you even talk of defeating us is like going to Katanga.
Now, in all of this, summing it up, where do we stand in 2019 as a nation, democratically, with all of the quagmires that we find ourselves in?
We are standing on a bridge that have two options. One, to continue on the line of ethnic and religious division. And a bridge, the other side, that offers a leadership that will unite and rebuild the economy. These are the three major things we are running on. To unite our people. Because now our people are so divided on ethnic and religious line, you can see it. Our economy is in bad shape. Today, this place is the poverty capital of the world. India has come out of it now, we have taken over. Today also, our people are not secure, which is the primary responsibility of government. From Zamfara, the bandits are killing villages, which everybody is seeing. In Taraba, they are killing on the Mambila Plateau, what they call it. In Plateau, they are there. In what they call Nasarawa, they are there. Local gangs are in the east. Local gangs are in the southwest. Bado, everybody, get up anything you like, you do to your brother. Now, this bridge contains the killing going on. It contains this place remaining the poverty capital of the world. It contains disunity. The other side contains rebuilding the economy, uniting our people, and securing it. The choice is for Nigerian people. We have put this on the table, and they have seen it. It's not we opposition that is saying it. HSBC, which is one of the greatest banks in Europe and in Asia, have told you, even when they don't have any business here, HSBC have told you that if you people make the mistake of allowing the Buhari-led APC come back, that the economy will slide into complete economic hiatus. What the Economic Forum report has said, that in terms of electricity generation, we are the worst. Yemen is above us. The World Index report, the Justice report has said that this place, also the World Press report has said this place is on red zone. They are not lying. We are seeing it now. Was Abiri not in detention for 2 years? Is there press freedom? Has the media houses not been demolished? Had media houses not been stifled not to air opposing views? So this is it's not something that people generated. And the Brooklyn Institute have said the final one, that here is the poverty capital of the world. Theresa May, even when he visited them, still told them that 85 million of your people are poor, and you need 50,000 jobs every 24 hours to come out of it. And instead of APC calling a summit on how they can generate 50,000 jobs per day, they are busy chasing things that are considered irrelevant. And that's why if you see the Rand Merchant Bank, when they released the report on investment attractiveness, Nigeria used to be fourth. They now say Nigeria is ninth. In that case, Nigeria is no longer getting, it's not an attractive zone for investment in Africa. Now, places like South Africa and Ghana is above us. You can see what Ghana did, their recent airport, which is like a world-class airport. Ghana that don't have almost up to 25 million people, that doesn't even have, serious revenue. Now their revenue formula from tourism is growing. Our people are going there, and this place is sinking. So the real issues are not being discussed, and that is why I tell the people, their vote will make the difference. Their vote will decide which of the bridge you want to go. If all of you want to go this side, then it will slide, and everybody will go into that insecurity, into that crisis, into that disunity. But if you want a glorious nation, those nations that Nnamdi Azikiwe, Tafawa Balewa, Ahmadu Bello dreamt of, those ones they fought for, with which they went to London to sign the agreement to bring the independence of this place, to respect that motion of independence moved by Enohoro in 1959. If you want those glorious visions these people have to come to be, then you look for a side that will unite the country. A side that will see the country as one constituency, not 95.5% constituency. A side that will show that this place is no longer the poverty capital of the world. And a side that will show that the man in Zamfara, who the bandit is killing and raping, is secure. The man in Plateau, whose means of livelihood is being destroyed, is secured. Then you have to go to this side. And that is the side I can boldly tell you that the CUPP is offering.
Finally, in all of this, the 2019 general election is key and paramount to keeping Nigeria as an entity. Who is your president in 2019? What qualities would you like to see in your president in 2019?
This is a topic I always like to talk about, happily. First of all, we don't have any particular candidate in the coalition. The coalition has 40 political parties. About 20 of them are feeding presidential candidates. After you finish feeding your presidential, we'll go into what you have, or call like the conclave, like you have in Vatican, where the 49 party leaders will sit, and among these 49 parties, both the over 40 parties, both the PDP, the SDP, the AG, all of them, the most important is that these parties will finish their individual party program, which is ongoing. SDP is about to do their own, PDP is about to do their own. When they've finished, we'll go into the conclave, and we'll anoint one person as the grand candidate of the grand coalition. And let me tell you something that has been put on the table that is clear. That our grand coalition candidate will be a man, mark what I tell you today, that will unite the country. Will be a man that will rebuild the economy. Will be a man that will secure the lives and property of our people. Will be a man who is of moderate faith, whether from Islamic faith or Christian faith. Will be a man who is a link between the old and the new generation. A man who is a friend in the south, a son in the east, and a brother in the north. That will see Nigeria as one indivisible entity, and that together we can achieve our collective dreams. And I tell Nigerians, when that candidate emerges, I can tell you that Nigerian people will know that the election is over even before we start. Ikenga
Ogochinye, political analyst, thank you so very much for finding our time to be here. You are so on fire today. Thank you so much for finding our time to be here. This is how much time will permit us on today's edition of the program Politics and You. We hope we've been able to bring you up to speed on political happenings in and around our country. You know what? Next week is going to be hotter than today, I promise you. All right, till we hit your screen again next week, stay out of trouble. And remember, Nigeria will definitely be great again. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe is the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the APC.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you will go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm the Agbero. That made me like this Agbero.
He don't need PVC. He don't need PVC. I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bayelsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask his people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute that investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
We got a 24/7 light, we got water, we got the best amenities, and when I don't feel like going out, I just watch TV.
Nice.
Star Times, right? Come on, man. Can you get Fox TV on Star Times? Ebony Live TV? Discovery Family? Please.
Yes, no.
We get all that and more channels safe. The StarTimes Classic Bouquet Reloaded is the best deal.
The best?
Well, if you're paying over 10,000 naira for a cable plan, then it has to be good.
Thank you, kid.
We pay 1.9. Get the best deals on channels like Fox TV, Ebony Live TV, ST Nollywood Plus, Discovery Family, and much more with StarTimes Classic Bouquet Reloaded for only 1,900 naira from September 1st to October 31st, 2018. Don't miss out on all the drama, action, and comedy on StarTimes. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
If you know fit go internet or follow for Twitter, you know fit snap photo send or get it photo send. Now because you dey use Palasa, your phone no dey answer. See me see wahala. My brother, go get smartphone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no go for your hand, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no fit take selfie. Drop that Palasa phone. No be correct phone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone.
My people, no let Palasa phone fall your hand this year. Kia go buy 3G or 4G smartphone or bring that your phone con join MTN and then go summer you with 100% awoof data bam on top every data bundle way you buy for the next 3 months. So drop that Palasa now. Change your levels so that you go fit enjoy fast internet on the network we get data for everywhere for we country Nigeria. This offer day open to new and old MTN customers.
For innovative research-based analysis, fresh news and programs, join us on PTV, the People's Oriented Station, transmitting on Star Times Channel 120, showing across 36 states in Nigeria, and Channel 77 on Strong Decoder across 52 countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you have the best of television. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. People's Television, powered by you.
Soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislators.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely.
From this interview, because you have said
there had hardly been any administration.
Under the law, no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go, anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
People of Nigeria, I hear say they don't back Odin. From my side, the good though as the banner, because even human being, you no go to the drink Odin. Oh, I beg, it good, make a banner. We don't want them again.
A lot of Nigeria youth that have been taken into codeine have caused a lot of havoc to them, even to the society in general.
The recent ban of codeine is very amazing because that will help the Nigerian youths to face the reality and know what they're doing. Because of then, man, people are taking this codeine and they'll be very slow, they can't even help themselves out. But now that it's banned, I think they have no way to find any excuse, so they will come out, do the right thing at the right time and work for themselves.
I feel happy about the ban of codeine in Nigeria because it has caused so many harms to our youth out there. They over-abuse it. For those it may affect, they can go for other alternative of cough syrup. It's not only codeine that is in Nigeria that is cough syrup.
To some extent, it's okay. In the sense that the abuse is getting out of hand. You see people taking codeine as if they are drinking water, which is causing health hazards to most of us. That, I say, is not good. But think about it the other way around. I need codeine to cure me of one ailment or the other. And for me to go and get it now from the pharmacy becomes a problem because it's banned. So what do you do now? So before the government will come out to say this and that, I think it should be better for government to find out the root cause of why these guys or these little ones, not even guys this time, even women, even politicians, they do it, they take it. Find out why they are doing it, especially those guys outside. Then try to sort out that problem so that it will stop. If you say you ban it, the effect will be on almost everybody. But if you find out the root cause of why they are doing it, it will help us better.
I think the recent ban of codeine is one of the most positive things this government has done so far. And it's a very, very good thing because it will actually curtail drug abuse. Because if you look at Kano and Lagos State right now, they're among the highest abusers of drug, and Katsina State is a very good thing for the youth, and it will definitely grow the level of efficiency and self-sustenance in the country.
My name is Femi Anikula Kokuti. This is just to tell you, beg you, plead with you, don't let anybody lure you into being violent. It's very important for us to have a peaceful elections. We need to think about the future of this country, of our children. We can be a great nation. And the first step is desist from being violent. Let's have a peaceful elections.
Tonight, organized labor gets mixed results as nationwide strike begins. APC set to win Osun rerun election. Federal government hails private sector as Abuja Trade Fair opens. Hello and welcome to PTV. Hello and welcome to PTV Tonight. I am Lilian Ogazi. Activities in federal offices in Abuja were paralyzed on the first day of the nationwide strike over a new minimum wage. It, however, did not affect banks, public schools, and other essential went round the Nigerian capital and had details.
This is the Federal Secretariat in the FCT. Before now, the area is known to be a beehive of activities as workers and business owners come around here. These workers were seen hanging around as most of their offices are under lock and key. It is the first day of the strike and workers are already complaining with the directive of the leadership of the organized labor. Although many workers refuse to speak following the directive from the union, but this man said the compliance is total.
We cannot say much because we are taking directive from our headquarters. The TUC, the NSC, we are the grassroots. They're giving us directive that as from today, all the civil servants all over the federation, it should remain at home. So we have no option than to comply with what I said.
And when asked what the implication of the strike is, these Nigerians have this to say. But in all this, one man is thinking differently. He claimed that the strike is politically motivated. The effect of the strike is gradually trickling down to the common man on the street, and this commercial car driver is one of them. The strike followed the inability of federal government to meet the demands of the union, despite numerous meetings. Emmanuel Ejine, PTV News, Abuja.
The Accountant General of the Federation has a clear message for striking federal government workers. Ahmed Idris has warned that they may not be paid salaries if workers are not at their duty post. He said in a statement that salaries cannot be achieved in an atmosphere where the critical stakeholders are not allowed access to their offices. The AGF explained that salary payment involves a number of processes that do not begin and end with his office. Now he added that officials of cash management departments in Ministry of Finance and others are supposed to do their bits before that can be achieved. Idris explained that there is a standing order rather from President Buhari to pay workers' salary from the 25th of every month, and added that this month will not be an exception. And in Lagos, the strike was more effective as many public and private institutions were shut down. This is largely as a result of efforts of the labour enforcement teams, which turned back workers at the State Secretariat in Aluosa as early as 7:20 a.m. The enforcement team of the Association of Senior Staff of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions, led by ITS, also stopped bank workers from gaining access to their premises. As the nationwide warning strike called by Nigerians' labour movement begins, there was partial compliance in Kaduna State. Civil servants were sighted going through their normal duties in their offices as early as 8 a.m. A visit to the State Secretariat showed that people were going about their daily routine at the complex. Reporters were, however, prevented by Labour Task Force from having access into the premises as the gate was under lock and key. Some of the banks in the city also observed the sit-at-home order. Meanwhile, Labour leaders in Benue are demanding an upward review of revenue allocation to states. This is said to enable them pay the new minimum wage. The activists were, however, silent on the government's failure to pay salary arrears. Our Benue State correspondent Akumi Taf tells us more from this report presented from our studios. Moving on, in Oyo, activities in different courts were paralyzed in the aftermath of the workers' strike. The action affected the Federal High Court, the Court of Appeal and the National Industrial Court, all in Ibadan, which had their gates locked. Members of the Oyo State chapter of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria were at the various courts as early as 7:30 a.m. to ensure compliance by the judiciary workers. Still on the national strike, judicial workers on Thursday barricaded the gates of courts and other judicial institutions to enforce the strike. Officials of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria turned back lawyers from court premises. They also denied judges and other judicial officers entry into their offices.
This is the headquarters of the Federal High Court of Nigeria, where hundreds of cases are heard weekly. But angry-looking Joseon officials remain hostile to anyone attempting to approach the court building. Not even journalists were spared. And just a few miles away is the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Maitama. Our camera lens caught the Industrial Court Chief Judge Babatunde Adejumo making a U-turn after noticing the barricade mounted by the workers. This is the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, and today the court is shut down simply because of the nationwide industrial action as instructed by organized labor. On the gate there are members of the Judicial Service Committee of the Federal Capital Territory who have decided they are going to stand on the gate to stop saboteurs from coming in. They believe that the instruction from organized labor has to be taken with serious adherence. And of course, this court is supposed to host the Minister of Justice today, who is expected to inaugurate the Administration of Criminal Justice Act Committee. But unfortunately, the industrial action did not allow this to take place. But for the meantime, members of the Judicial Service Committee of the Federal Capital Territory have said they are going to remain here in the court until evening, until closing hour, so that they will prevent staff from coming inside the court. Emmanuel Babu, PTV News, Abuja.
Joining me on the news tonight is the Labour activist Comrade Joseph Ndirang, Chairman Labour Party, member NLC Political Commission. You're welcome to the news.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, organised labour has finally carried out its threat to go on strike on the minimum wage. What comes to mind?
Well, what really comes to mind is that government must just do everything possible to see that the impasse is resolved by actually reconvening the meeting of the minimum wage committee. This is the least demand that Nigerian workers have ever made. We are just calling for the reconvening of the meeting of the minimum wage committee so that they can conclude what they have started. Now, the committee was inaugurated in November 2017. And you know this government, how slow this government is. Up to this moment, it took them 4 months for the committee to kick off. The committee started work in February. And we all went out to make sure that the job of the committee was hastened so that they can be able to complete the work. Workers in Nigeria expected the federal government to have announced the minimum wage during the 2018 May Day celebration. But unfortunately, in February, while we were doing the 40th anniversary of the Nigerian Labour Congress existence in Nigeria, Dr. Ngige, the Minister of Labour, outrightly came out to tell Nigerian workers that within the first or second or third week of September, the federal government was going to announce the new minimum wage. Although workers were taken aback because their expectation was that the federal government was going to announce the new minimum wage at the May Day celebration. Now the labor leaders had to go back, talk to the workers and ask them that they should exercise patience until we get to September. So federal government thought that September will never come. And here we are today, we're in September, and suddenly, at the beginning of the month, Ngige called the meeting of the committee only to tell us that the meeting is adjourned sine die. And you can hear what he said today, that he is reconvening the meeting on the 4th of October. Now, if he knew that he was going to reconvene the meeting on the 4th of October, why did he suspend the meeting sine die in the first instance? So you can see, government is insensitive to the cry of Nigerians. The government, the present administration is really, really insensitive to the cry of the Nigerian workers. Otherwise, we couldn't have found ourselves in where we are today.
Okay, now let's look at what Labour is asking for vis-a-vis the current economic reality on ground. 65,000 naira minimum wage. Is this realistic in Nigeria?
Very, very realistic, my sister.
Why do you say so?
Let me tell you. Now, what plunged us into what has plunged us into where we are is that government have things that they are doing that they don't have business doing that. For example, you see, it is against the principle of collective bargaining for you to come at a time when the economy of the country has no business being where it is. The government, especially the governors, when you look at what is happening in the country, they live ostentatious lives. Okay, that is one. Secondly, we spend unnecessarily on what we are not supposed to do. Now, the salary of our political office holders is something that one cannot even imagine. And now you leave the worker at 18,000 naira. Now, if the economy is not being looted by the political office holders, we would have had enough so that we can be able to pay workers' salary, we can be able to reach out. And then we have no business saying that we don't have money to pay. And I want to tell you that Nigeria has the capacity to pay the minimum wage. Not let nobody deceive you that they don't have money.
Okay, now, looking at now, you said Nigeria has money. How about, aren't you concerned, or, I mean, the Labour, aren't they concerned about even some oil-producing states that can't even meet up with the current 18,000 minimum wage? How do you think they will meet up with the 65,000?
It is just a deliberate act by the states to say that they are unable to pay. All you need to do, the presidential system of government that we're running is a very expensive system of governance. Okay? Now, we have proposed that why don't we cut costs by ensuring that those in the National Assembly, their functions should be made, periodic. Periodic, what do I mean periodic? I mean it should just be part-time. Okay? If it is part-time, they should just take allowances. Okay, that is commensurate with the economy. And then the chunk of money, that the millions that are being piled there, will not be diverted, so that workers who are the wealth creators of this nation should be able to benefit from the wealth they are creating. So, look, we are just deliberate. Let me tell you, it is not about there is no resources in Nigeria to pay a minimum wage. It is just that the political will is not there. That is just it, my sister.
Okay, now still talking about states that are owing now. Why is it so difficult for state councils of the labor movement to actually properly engage state governments that are owing civil servants?
They have been engaging the state governments.
But so far, we've not really seen positive results.
There has been engagement, and that is the patience of the Nigerian trade union leaders. They have been very patient. Let me tell you, the last minimum wage was negotiated in 2010. It was in 2010 that we got the 18,000. And according to the law, we are supposed to get into these minimum wage negotiations after every 5 years. So in 2015, we would have gone back to the table to negotiate what we are negotiating now. But 3 years down the line, nothing has been done. And that is to tell you how patient and how understanding the Nigerian professional trade unionists are. So that is why they have waited patiently, and they have done all they could. They've cooperated with the state governments. But we also know that there is no government in this country that can say that they cannot pay the minimum wage. It's not true. Because the resources are there and everything is available. Except that the resources have been looted. The resources are, people are living ostentatious lives and they don't care about what is happening to the common man. But this time around, we are unanimous. As far as labor is concerned, there is no force that can divide us on the issue of minimum wage. We are out and we are going to get what we have come out to get for the Nigerian workers.
Okay, now let's talk about states that have collected the Paris refund and bailout. Now, most states that have collected are still owing salaries and pensions. Now, has the NLC and the TUC reached out to these defaulting states?
We have certainly reached out to them. One of the examples that are readily available is what is happening in Kaduna. Despite the Paris funds and all the bailouts that have been released, the government went ahead to sack over 35,000 workers, render them jobless. Then they come to Kogi, salaries are still outstanding. Now listen, you see, that's why I said it is about the political will. The people don't have, the leadership does not have political will to pay, but the ability is there, and that is very key. And we've actually reached out, we've engaged them at several locations. Some of them have, in fact, they have maltreated us. We've gone to places where we have been kept for 10, 15 hours when nobody attended to us, but we waited patiently. And the patience is being exhausted, and that is why the labor movement is responding in this manner. Okay,
now, looking at the past, now we've seen past NLC presidents reach a consensus with Labour. Now, do you think there will actually be a meeting that will grant a meeting point, a neutral ground for both Labour and the NLC president currently?
Well, Richard, you are talking about within the Labour movement itself? That is TUC, NLC?
TUC, NLC, and then, yes, do you think there will be a meeting that will bring a consensus on the new minimum wage demand?
We have been working in consensus. We've been working together, okay? TUC and NLC, including the United Labour Congress, are all members of the Minimum Wage Committee.
Okay.
So we go there with one voice, our demands are one, and we'll be working together. Okay. Unlike other cases when, as much as possible, government tried to infiltrate us and cut us away, but we are unanimous on this matter of minimum wage. and we are going for it.
Okay, finally, can we, the Nigerians, know how far the organized labor can go to actually achieve this aim? So we'll know how long we'll stock our homes?
Well, it will depend on government. That you should ask the government, because as far as we are concerned, the demand
so
is
how
the
far
least.
are you people willing to take this?
As far as we can, until the government responds. It is now, the ball is in the government's court. We've just asked that they should reconvene the meeting of the committee so that we can conclusively conclude what Ngige said, that by September, the minimum wage of Nigerians will be announced. All Nigerians are all waiting for the announcement of the minimum wage. Once the committee, and there are just dotting the I's and crossing the T's that are left in the committee work. So you cannot just come and tell people that the work is suspended sine die. I remember jokingly I was sharing with some workers. I said, the minister has suspended this meeting sine die. They said, now who died? Say whether that the minister died, the minister will not go chop. You know, that kind of a thing, to tell you how the workers are really waiting for the minimum wage.
All right.
And we need it.
All right. Thank you very much, Comrade Joseph, for coming on the show.
Well,
that was Comrade Joseph Ndirang, member NLC Political Commission and chairman, Labour Party, came to share his idea and talk to us about the current national strike. Well, it's still PTV Tonight show. We're going on a quick break, and when we return, more stories will come your way. To stay.
No, we refuse, so now we can wave our banner. Yo, get ready for what we have to offer from Texas boys. We got it on impulse. I say science. We got it on impulse. Silence again. We got it on impulse. And what? Yo, impulse. The stage is set, so let's own it. They say be this, they say be that, but all we want to be is just us, man. Fact.
Yes, it's warm. Buy an MTN SIM and dial *344# to unleash their potential. MTN Impulse. Learn, play, shine everywhere you go.
African soldiers helping Nigerian soldiers fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have
there had hardly been any administration.
No religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
You're welcome back. Now moving on, the Center for Democracy and Development has decried incidents it says undermine the sanity of the Osun governorship election. CDD Director Idiat Hassan said in a statement that some security operatives acted in a manner inimical to free and fair election. It added that there are cases where observers and voters were denied access to polling units. CDD specifically said the incidents happened in Orolu and Osogbo local government areas. Still on the Osun election, the police have paraded 6 persons found with customs election observer tags and membership cards of the People's Democratic Party in Osun State. Police spokesperson in the state, Folashade Odoro, said in a statement that the suspects include the PDP House of Representatives, aspirants for Orolu Federal Constituency. She explained that a police team on stop-and-search operation intercepted vehicles which had a suspect on board. The police spokesperson added that the men had customized INEC tags, face cap and jacket with the inscription of INEC Osun 2018 election observer and PDP membership cards. She said the suspects were using the items to have easy access to restricted areas meant for personnel with due accreditation. The People's Democratic Party in Kaduna State is to make public the list of all 2,677 delegates. This, it says, is to enable all aspirants to have an idea of those that will be determining their fate. No fewer than 220 aspirants in Kaduna State are seeking the PDP's ticket to run for the governorship election and 53 other elective offices in the 2019 election. This was contained in a statement signed by the party's publicity secretary, Abraham Kato. The PDP primaries are scheduled for September 30th. And in Benue State Governor Samuel Otom has sworn in 13 special advisors with a charge on them to make positive impact on the lives of Benue citizens in the discharge of their duties. Otom enjoined the advisors to be guided by the core values of his administration. 19 firms have indicated interest to acquire the Afam Power Company and the Yola Distribution Company put up for sale by the federal government. At the close of the submission of bids for the expression of interest for the two power companies, 7 companies submitted bids for Afam while 12 submitted for the Yola Disco. The head of public communications of the Bureau of Public Enterprise, Amina Tukur, said in a statement shortly after the 1 p.m. deadline for the submission of bids that some of the bidders are renowned players in the power industry. Tukur said the evaluation committee, earlier set up by the Bureau to scrutinize bids, has been empowered by the Bureau's Director of Energy, Yohana Malo, to commence work. The request for expression of interest in the two companies was published by the BPE in National Newspaper on August 16, 2018. It will be recalled that although Yola Distribution Company was successfully privatized and handed over to the core investors in 2013, but a force majeure was declared in 2015 by the core investor, citing insecurity in the northeast region of the country. The transaction for Afam Power Generation Company, on the other hand, fell through due to delay in signing the gas supply agreement and the gas transportation agreement. Despite the nationwide strike, the Abuja International Trade Fair is taking place. FCT Minister Mohammed Bello, who is at the trade fair, applauded the contribution of the private sector to Nigeria's economy. Hundreds of products and services are currently being exhibited at the ongoing trade fair. Now, according to the minister, the private sector has relieved the government from so many commitments.
This is the venue of the fair, and it's located on the airport road. The Abuja Trade Fair complex is fully activated for the annual International Trade Fair. Despite the ongoing nationwide strike declared by organized labor, FCT Minister visited the trade fair ground to welcome his guest.
The national body for having given support to the Abuja Chamber of Commerce, and I also congratulate the President and his team, and also all those that are participating here. And I think this is the face of what Nigeria is heading to, where there is a strong private sector presence in activities of the economy, because government alone, as we all know, cannot be able to be only the people who are moving development. And more importantly, government cannot employ everybody, so the private sector is doing very well.
The minister went round to scan through the exhibited products and services. The organizers say that this edition is different and comes with new innovations and features.
Tremendous change in this 2018 International Trade Fair of Abuja Chambers of Commerce. You have seen the new buildings coming up. You can see the auditorium where we use this money instead of the outside one we used last year. And going around with the Honorable Minister, we have seen so many businesses, industries that have participated that were not here last year. Even more foreign industries, they participate this year. So it's of a tremendous achievement and improvement in the last previous ones.
Participants at the fair came from within and outside Nigeria. Ali Hassan is a regular exhibitor at the Abuja Trade Fair.
Every year we are coming here for interest to sell our stuff, and we found the people here. We open the market from the Egyptian. Until now we don't know, but always every year the businesses will be good. But just start now, we don't know what is happening. But always every year we sell that items from the Egyptian items, the natural cotton, the cloth, the handicraft, the leather, the cushion, the leather cushion, wallets, anything. All what I have is from Egypt. And also we have some decoration, the crystal decoration for the house.
The trade fair ends in 5 days' time.
Still on Nigeria economy, the Central Bank of Nigeria is set to revoke the operating licenses of 182 other financial institutions. A statement issued by the bank indicates that 154 of the affected institutions are microfinance banks, while 6 are primary mortgage banks. The remaining 22 are finance companies. The CBN said 62 of the microfinance banks had already closed shop, 74 became insolvent, 12 were terminally distressed, while 6 voluntarily liquefied. Equity transactions on the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Thursday closed on a negative note, with the Nestle PLC leading the losers table. The all-share index dropping by 199.92 points or 0.61% to close at 32,763.35 against 32,963.27 on Wednesday. Also, the market capitalization shed 73 billion naira, 0.61%, to close at 11.961 trillion naira, in contrast with 12.034 trillion naira achieved on Wednesday. Analysis of the price movement chart indicated that 13 stocks recorded price depreciation, while 24 stocks posted price appreciation. Nestle, one of the blue chips on NSE, led the losers table with a loss of 62.50 naira to close at 1,432 naira per share. On the other hand, Total Oil recorded the highest gain, leading the gainers table with 1.9 naira to close at 183 naira per share. You're watching PTV Tonight. Keep up with the news by downloading our app, PTV Nigeria. You can also watch us on www.ptvng.com/live. Now follow us, People's TV, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
African soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will help to persuade Nigerian legislators.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have
There had hardly been any administration.
Under the law, no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is
You're welcome back. Now straight to the foreign scene. Retired South African Archbishop and anti-apartheid campaigner Desmond Tutu has been admitted to a Cape Town hospital for a series of tests. Tutu, who turns 87 next month, has had prostate cancer for about 2 years and is largely withdrawn from public life. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1984 for his non-violent opposition to the apartheid regime in South Africa. And in India, the cold-blooded killing of a 26-year-old civilian has sparked fresh protests in Indian-administered Kashmir, with Indian authorities placing certain areas under curfew and shutting down mobile internet service. Salim Malik was killed in the early hours of Thursday, and family members told Al Jazeera he was shot dead without any provocation after the Indian soldiers suspected him of being a rebel. Anti-Indian protests and clashes erupted in several places across the region following the murder of Malik, who a senior police official said was killed in a crossfire. U.S. President Donald Trump has accused China of seeking to meddle in November 6 U.S. congressional elections. He said Beijing didn't want his Republican Party to do well because of his hardline stance on trade. Trump did not provide any evidence on Wednesday for his allegation, which he made while charging the council meeting, but China has since rejected the claims. And finally, on the foreign scene, multiple rockets have hit the Afghan city of Ghazani during a visit by President Ashraf Ghani. Officials and residents of the city, which is still struggling to return to normal after it was overrun by Taliban fighters last month. The police say at least 2 rockets landed within 300 meters of the governor's compound, where President Ghani was meeting local officials. A third one struck further off, but there was no word on any casualties. Light and heavy weapons fire could also be heard. More than 200 civilians were killed and hundreds more wounded during the 5-day assault. People were trapped in their homes for 5 days as thousands of Taliban fighters and Afghan soldiers fought in the streets. And that's all on the news tonight. Now, do remember that for more news updates, you can go to www.ptvng.com. Well, we shall leave you with more sports stories from Daniel Waboso. Do have a good night rest.
Hello and welcome to PTV Sports Desk. I am Daniel Waboso. We kick off now with tennis, where there are flashes of the glory days of Britain's former world number 1, Andy Murray, on Thursday, as he dumped top seed David Goffin of the German out of the ATP Shenzhen Open 6-3, 6-4 in round of 16 action. The 31-year-old dug deep when it mattered, like the Murray of old, brushing off 70% of breakpoint faced and firing down 15 aces against a player ranked 11th in the world. Goffin still kept the pressure on throughout, though breaking Murray twice to claw his way back into thrilling second set before the British player's trademark determination prevailed. 3 times the 27-year-old Goffin threatened to break the score at 5-4, and 3 times Murray found a win to fight back before sealing the set and the match with an ace. With the top seed gone, the tournament now opens up enticingly for Murray, as Greek second set Stefanos Tsitsipas was also bundled out of the round of 16 by Frenchman Pierre-Hugues Herbert 6-3, 7-6, 7-4. Fellow British player Cameron Norrie also sent Croatian third seed Borna Skoric packing 6-4, 7-6 at the same stage. There were few visible signs on Thursday of the hip trouble that has plagued Murray since he climbed to the pinnacle of the game at the end of 2016, only to see his career stall and his ranking plummet to the 311, where it now languishes. Still in tennis now, Madrid has been choosing to host the first 2 new format Davis Cup final in 2019 and 2020 under a format proposed by the Cosmos Group headed by Barcelona footballer Gerard Piqué. The competition will bring together 18 nations in one place for a week at the end of the tennis season. The revamped finals are scheduled to take place at La Caja Magica, the current venue for Madrid Open in 2019. For 2020, organizers still must decide between holding the event either at the same location or at a Wiznik center. Cosmos, an investment group led by Piqué with Japanese and Chinese support, will spend $3 billion over 25 years on the revamped 118-year-old Davis Cup. And now in athletics, the Russian Athletic Federation has launched a legal challenge to overturn athletics governing body, the IAAF, ban on its athletes. It has filed an appeal to the Court of arbitration for sport. Last week, WADA ended its 3-year suspension of Russia's anti-doping agency, but the IAAF ban remains. The Russia anti-doping agency had been suspended since 2015 over alleged state-backed doping after it was accused of covering up drug abuse. Earlier this month, WADA's Compliance Review Committee recommended reinstatement after it received assurance from the Russian Sports Ministry that the country had sufficiently acknowledged failures. But Russia remains suspended from the International Paralympics Committee event and also from athletics, although some athletes have been allowed to compete as neutrals in the international competition after proving their anti-doping credentials. Both the IPC and athletes governing body, the IAAF, have already established their own task forces to investigate Russia's compliance. The IAAF task force will report back to the council meeting in December. And in golf now, America's Tiger Woods and Patrick Reed will play Europeans Francisco Molinari and Tommy Fleetwood in Friday morning 4 balls at the Ryder Cup in France. FedEx Cup winner Justin Rose and John Ram face Brooke Koepka and Tony Finau in the final of 28 matches. Rory McIlroy and top John Olesin play Dustin Johnson and Ricky Fowler before Paul Casey and Terrell Hatton take on Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas. The U.S. team is aiming to win on foreign soil for the first time in 25 years, led by captain and former U.S. Open champion Jim Furyk. The U.S. team has 31 major victories between them compared to Europe's 8 and boasts 3 of this year's major championship. And in football now, Barcelona midfielder Sergio Busquets has extended his contract until 2023. The Spanish champions made the announcement on Thursday. Busquets' deal had initially been until 2021, but under the new contract, his buyout clause has been increased from 200 to 500 million euros. The contract extension for the 30-year-old follows similar deals for Lionel Messi, who signed on until 2021, Sergio Roberto, goalkeeper Marc-Andre ter Stegen, and Samuel Umtiti. Finally, in football, Germany on Thursday won the race to host the 2024 European Championship as UEFA backed a bid seen as safer than the rival Turkish proposal. UEFA President Alexander Seferin announced the winner following a campaign that saw politics and concerns over human rights in Turkey play a central role. UEFA considered that the German bid already had everything in place to host a successful event, including stadiums, infrastructure, and hotels. European football governing body has also said it wants to make as much money as possible from the 2024 tournament, and Germany was considered the better financial bet. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan loomed large over the campaign and thought his defeat may be seen in part as a personal rebuke. That's what we have on PTV Sports Desk. I'm Daniel Wambosa.
Sunana Yakubu, amma an fi sani na da Yaks. Abu mafi mahimmanci shine har yanzu muna zaune da kwayar cutar polio a kasar mu. Wasu sun san digon rigakafin polio, wato digo biyu da ake bada na baki. Wasu kuma ba su san da haka ba. Wasu suna tunanin wannan digo guda biyu sau daya kawai ya wadatar. Shin digo biyu ya wadatar? Bari mu bincika. Yaya aiki?
Lafiya kalau.
Digon mai guda biyu kawai zai sa soya kosai?
Ba zai isa ba.
To, ta ce ba zai isa ba.
Ina zuwa.
Na gode. Shin zaki amfani da digon nono guda biyu kawai ki dama fura?
A'a ba zai yiwu ba gaskiya. Saboda nonon ne yake taimakawa wurin dama furan.
Nagode. Tambaya nake, shin digon ruwa biyu kawai zai isa hada shayi?
Ai ba zai yiwu a hada ruwa da shayi da digon ruwa biyu ba. Dalili kuwa ai ba zai isa mutum ba. Dole sai ya kai kaman kofi daya.
Barka da.
Barka gare.
Da Allah tambaya nake so yi.
Allah sa na sani.
Shin digon man fetur guda biyu, digon man fetur guda biyu zai isa ya sa wannan mashin aiki?
A'a ba zai sa shi aiki ba gaskiya.
Dalili fa?
Saboda ai bai wadace shi ba.
Haba.
Kwarai da gaske.
To nan ina zaka?
Dan je nan bayani.
Da Allah bari bi ka. Allah bai na wani.
Lafiya lau.
Kwayan gishiri biyu kadai. Shin zai isa ya sa naman nan daɗi?
A gaskiya ba zai isa ya sa naman nan daɗi ba. Sai an ɗan sa gishirin da yawa tukuna sannan a haɗa sannan ya garwaye naman har ya yi daɗi.
Na gode. Kuma yadda muka je, ɗigo biyu kawai bai sa ya wadatar da wani abu mai ma'ana ba. Haka ma ɗigon rigakafin polio. Dole ne yaro ko yarinya su samu ɗigo biyu akai-akai na rigakafin polio. Wannan ɗigo biyu akai-akai shi zai wadatar wajen kare yaro ko yarinya daga kamuwa da cutar koko kowace irin cutar polio.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
People of Nigeria, I hear say they don't back Odin. For my side, the good though as the banner, because even human being, you no go to the drink Odin. Oh, I beg, it good, make a banner. We don't want them again.
A lot of Nigeria youth that have been taken into codeine have caused a lot of havoc to them, even to the society in general.
The recent ban of codeine is very amazing because that will help the Nigerian youths to face the reality and know what they're doing. Because of then, man, people are taking this codeine and they'll be very slow, they can't even help themselves out. But now that it's banned, I think they have no way to find any excuse, so they will come out, do the right thing at the right time and work for themselves.
I feel happy about the ban of codeine in Nigeria because it has caused so many harms to our youth out there. They over-abuse it. For those it may affect, they can go for other alternative of cough syrup. It's not only codeine that is in Nigeria that is cough syrup.
To some extent, it's okay. In the sense that the abuse is getting out of hand. You see people taking codeine as if they are drinking water, which is causing health hazards to most of us. That, I say, is not good. But think about it the other way around. I need codeine to cure me of one ailment or the other. And for me to go and get it now from the pharmacy becomes a problem because it's banned. So what do you do now? So before the government will come out to say this and that, I think it should be better for government to find out the root cause of why these guys or these little ones, not even guys this time, even women, even politicians, they do it, they take it. Find out why they are doing it, especially those guys outside. Then try to sort out that problem so that it will stop. If you say you ban it, the effect will be on almost everybody. But if you find out the root cause of why they are doing it, it will help us better.
I think the recent ban of codeine is one of the most positive things this government has done so far. And it's a very, very good thing because it will actually curtail drug abuse. Because if you look at Kano and Lagos State right now, they're among the highest abusers of drug, and Katsina State is a very good thing for the youth, and it will definitely grow the level of efficiency and self-sustenance in the country.
My name is Femi Anikula Kokuti. This is just to tell you, beg you, plead with you, don't let anybody lure you into being violent. It's very important for us to have a peaceful elections. We need to think about the future of this country, of our children. We can be a great nation. And the first step is desist from being violent. Let's have a peaceful elections.
Usual, I am excited today.